Have you ever asked yourself, what's wrong with miracle faith? Hi, I'm Bob Wilkin with Grace Evangelical Society, and I have some good news for you today. Many pastors and many theologians say that believing in Jesus because of the miracles he did is something less than saving faith. They say that it's fine to believe in the miracles that Jesus did, but in order to be born again, we've got to have some kind of special faith. They're kind of vague about what this special faith is, but it's some sort of encounter with Jesus where we turn from our sins and commit our lives to Him and plan to live the rest of our lives in obedience to Him so that we might someday gain what they would call final salvation. For example, in his commentary on the Gospel of John, famous New Testament scholar D.A. Carson says regarding John 2:23 and 24 that the Jewish people who believed in Jesus when they saw the miracles that he did had what he calls spurious faith. It was truly faith that Jesus had done the miracles, but it was less than saving faith. It was not the faith of John 3:16 or of John 1:12. Now what's interesting is in John 2:23, we're told by John that many believed in his name when they saw the signs which he did. And that same expression, believing in his name, is found in John 1:12, and it says that anyone who believes in his name has everlasting life. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name. And he goes on to say in verse 13, who were not born of the will of the flesh or of man, but they were born of God. And of course, the being born of God refers to everlasting life. Being a child of God in verse 12 refers to being born again as a person who has become part of God's forever family. There's nothing defective about believing in Jesus as a result of the miracles he did. In fact, John 20:30 and 31 is where John tells us that the reason he's recorded these 8 signs is that you might believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that by believing you would have life in his name. Every one of the signs given in John's Gospel was capable of leading a person to believe the truth of John chapter 3 and verse 16. You see, the issue is not what leads you to believe John 3:16, it's that you believe John 3:16. For God so loved the world, Jesus said, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish but has everlasting life. You see, many people say that believing in Jesus on the basis of the miracles he did is defective because it's not true saving faith. It doesn't have the required turning from sins, commitment of life, obedience, perseverance, etc. But the problem is that's work salvation. That's the opposite of John 3:16 or the Gospel of John or Ephesians 2:8 and 9 or Revelation 22:17. What Jesus promises amazingly is that whoever believes in him will never perish but has everlasting life. Commitment of life isn't a part of that. Obedience isn't a part of that. Good works aren't a part of that. You see, this is justification by faith alone, apart from works. Miracle faith is A-OK. There's nothing wrong with miracle faith. Once we see that Jesus is who he claimed to be, then we should believe what he guarantees to the one who believes in him. He is the Messiah who claims he has the right and the power and the authority to guarantee everlasting life to those who believe in him. So the real question is, do you believe that? It doesn't matter what leads you to believe that. If you believe that he healed the sick and raised the dead, that should lead you to believe the promise of John 3:16. If you believe he died on the cross for our sins and rose bodily from the dead, the 8th sign in John's gospel, that should lead you to believe the truthfulness and the promise of John 3:16. Miracle faith is A-OK. The key is that you believe in Jesus for the everlasting life that he promises. If you like what you heard today, please give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to our station. And please keep grace in focus.